Yes. Hello and welcome
Greetings,
to what
greetings.
is known as the Rasco and Disco Beer Show. Two guys with nothing better. Well, actually, I do have better things to do. Whatever.
I've got other things to do, but yeah, let's pop in, say hello, see who's about, see the long awaited by who knows who return to
Yes.
live streaming of Rasco and Disco.
Yes,
Is that the
indeed.
traditional pre-show cuppa there, Rasco?
Pretty much, yes.
Okay, I've gone
Indeed.
the less than traditional pre-show amaretti and pink lemonade Lucasade, just for a bit of energy and shit.
Oh, it's nice.
Yeah.
That does certainly see you through.
Yeah, Lucasade
And we
pink
got
lemonade.
our first comment. Cheers, lads. Hey, Sam. Good to hear from you.
Sam, all the way in from down under, and he's the first to arrive. Thank you. Welcome along. Thanks for popping in.
Indeed. Thank you.
Something like, I don't know, what, about 9 o'clock in the morning there? So are you on the night shift, or are you just getting in?
Yeah. I mean, oh, yeah. Thanks for that commitment. So we do have a... Go ahead.
I'll say that is good level of commitment there. Thank you, Sam.
Yeah. We do have a plan, sort of. Yeah. There's a rumor. We've got a guest joining us, but he's probably just dashing into his house right now. It is none other than Mark, the craft beer hub machine. I'm going to call him that now.
Craft beer hub. But the craft beer hub machine does sound pretty good. Yeah.
He's going to probably have to rebrand his whole channel again. Other than that, I'm fine. I've been busy with lots of things. As I scroll back to the script and see what we're using, we have returned.
Thanks for popping in, Thomas.
Hello, Thomas.
Good to see you. It's been a while.
Oh, Windows. I was actually thinking of you today. Hi, Hugh. Gorgeous. Yeah, indeed. Yes. So, Disco, what have you been doing? I was actually in the area, and I got my tweets mixed up and did not stop by your place of work.
Well,
so I went to the Dodo instead.
You went to where, sorry?
I went to the Dodo instead.
We had a couple of people come all the way over from South London just to go to my brewery, and I told them about the Dodo, and they decided to go there afterwards. So you may well have seen them. Well, there you go. Yeah. So I've begun slinging beers at the brewery I keep talking a lot about, Perivale Brewery.
Yep.
I'll maybe come on to more about that in a bit. I can see Mark is in the basement there, Rasco. Shall we invite him on and do the thing?
One second. I'm going to try a cheap special effect. Let's see if this works. You don't get this anywhere else but us, right? Well, I'm probably getting a few places. Let me try something. Because I love this when they used to do this back in the day. Right, let's see if this works. All right. 3, 2, 1. And now entering Mark, the craft beer hub machine. Is it working? No.
I'm not sure what it is you're doing, but I'm not sure it is working. No.
See, I'm trying to play a tune and it's not working. Hello, craft beer hub.
Should we go that view, Rasco? Is that better view?
That works. I've got this lovely logo. I like it. Fucking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll take the logo if you want. You want me to take the logo?
Yeah, take the logo.
I'll take the logo if you want.
No, I've got number 4
be top left.
Oh.
Mark, good evening. Good to see you. Welcome along. Thanks for popping in.
I don't think we can hear him. Or he can't hear us.
There we go. That's better.
There we go.
I'm just
looking at the light. The microphone needs to be on for it to work.
Yes, now we can hear the dulcet tones of Mark from the Craft Beer Hub. Welcome along, sir. How the devil are you?
Yeah, really good, mate. Thank you. How are you guys getting on?
Yeah, not too bad. Well, we're still here. We're still knocking around.
Still kicking about. That's what we like to see.
Indeed. How was the fireworks? by
Yeah,
the way?
good. The problem was it was an hour and 45 minutes away. And then they moved
Oh,
the
no.
fireworks back by 25 minutes because there were still people getting in the door. And it was just like, I'm looking at the clock thinking, I've got to be on the Rasco and Disco show in a bit. And yeah, it was good. Thank you.
Well, that's good, man. Oh,
No,
so
they all just started going off the fireworks around here, and I'm like, "Why is there fire?" And then I realised the date, and I'm like, "Oh, I completely
Yeah.
didn't even think about it tonight." To be honest, there you go.
now pleasantries have been done. What are we drinking, fellas? And yeah, Mark, do you want to just introduce yourselves to the unlikely people that don't know you?
Yeah. Hello, everybody. I'm Mark from the Craft Beer Hub. Another YouTube beer channel.
There's a
sort
few
of-
of us about.
Yeah, there is. Sort of tasting and talking beer and enjoying it. That's about it, really.
You certainly are. I mean, you are pulling out some brilliant videos. As I said
Thank
to you when I met up with you in August, and drunkenly bumped into you at the London Craft Beer Festival.
Yeah.
I said you are pulling out some great ones at the moment, and
Thank you,
mate, long may that continue, and
Well, I
please
appreciate
continue. Oh, that's
Thank
all right. And you did an interview with Vibrant Forest.
I did indeed. Yes.
Yes.
That was a good one.
More-
That was.
That really was a good one. I mean, I got things out of that. I pitched them for an interview. Last time was at what do you call it? Brew London. Brew London 22. And I spoke to the salesman. Who was,
Darren.
also, yes, might have been Darren.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, he knew who I was because he remembered watching me on Simon's channel the year before, saying, "Hey, you were that drunk guy." Yeah, that was me.
I reckon he says that quite often.
Hmm.
But no, they're really good. I think for me, just I think there's always those breweries that you kind of have got like a little eye for. Do you know what I mean? And I think Vibrant Forest are those that for me. They were the first. They were the first brewery I ordered beer from where I was satisfied because my first order was with Wild Child and I wasn't that fussed. The second order might have been from Glen Affric, which was really hit and miss.
Ooh.
And then my third order was from Vibrant Forest, and I think that's the first time I'd ordered direct from a brewer. Got beers from like a range of different styles, and I thought this is decent. I'm really, really happy with this. So I was on holiday down there. We go to the New Forest every year. We're sort of my family were sort of quite keen campers, and I thought I've got to take my chance. I was saying I said to Darren at GB, I caught him at GBBF, and I said, mate, I'm down in the New Forest soon. Can I grab you guys for a bit? And he was like, mate, come and do what you want. So yeah, lovely people doing fantastic beers.
Definitely, it's one that's been on the list for me for a long time because there's so many breweries out there. I haven't quite. I think I've had one of their beers, and I just haven't quite got around to pulling the trigger on an order. But it does look like some good stuff. I think I missed. They had like another Black Forest Stout. I think a while back.
What have I got here? They do.
Yes.
This is a plum and star anise cognac and bourbon barrel aged stout that I need to review for them.
Wow, that's
yeah, it sounds good, doesn't it?
That's a slightly unusual list of ingredients. Star anise.
Yeah, I know. I saw star anise and thought, okay, but it's Vibrant Forest, so they've probably made it work.
Exactly. Yeah. What are you cracking open there, Mark? What are you drinking?
I've got a signature brew Backstage IPA.
Oh, solid. Yeah.
So, yeah, I've got these through. I do an article once a quarter in a trade magazine for a company called Tappin, who are like a beer. They're kind of a beer logistics company that kind of move beer for breweries.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of their reps lives on the same sort of development as I do, and he was like, "Would you do an article if I whack some beer your way?" And I was like, "Yeah," I was absolutely fine. He bought me some Stone and Wood stuff the other day, which I quite enjoyed. So,
nice.
Yeah, he's got his perks. Cheers, everybody! Thanks for having me on, chaps.
No,
problem, mate.
Yeah.
That's news to me, mate. Because Mark, you've been doing this for 2 years, and you just seem to go from strength to strength. Really, you've got over 1,000 subs. You're producing videos, decent content. You're doing interviews with breweries. I mean, you've this is the real big thing. You've built your own horse box, which is a bar. I mean, bars are getting smaller and smaller, and this is a bit interesting. You've built your own. Or what are you planning to do next? Open a casino?
You'd need more than £2.50 of spare change to open a casino. That's about all I've got at the moment. I don't know. I don't know. I just love the beer side of things. I've always liked the industry side, and this is what I spoke to you about, Rasco, didn't I? Up at London Craft Beer Festival.
Yeah.
This channel, it's part of the reason I renamed the channel in the early days from Mark's Beer Reviews to the Craft Beer Hub, because I wanted it to be more than beer reviews. I wanted it to be more than just standing where I'm stood now, telling people about beer, because I think that would wear quite thin. I've got quite a low boredom threshold, so I think that would wear quite thin for me. And it's just nice to talk to people, just getting out and about, and just going to see the guys at Vibrant Forest, and you just never expect anything else off of it, and you just have a lovely time doing it. I absolutely love YouTube, and I think hopefully the passion and stuff comes through across on the camera. I don't know; it's hard to
Certainly does.
mark your own homework in that way.
Yeah, the enthusiasm and energy that you put into, like I say, even just standing in front of the camera in the bar there, certainly I think it comes across.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Good evening, Christopher Boys. We are doing very well. We've all got beer on. Rasco, what beer have you got in your glass, mate?
I went with one of my semi-locals, Ansbach Hobdays, the Pale, Bermondsey Pale. And what I can say about it, it's very pale.
It looks very pale.
It's nice on the tongue. It's ticking all the boxes. It's it's a good beer. That's probably why I haven't done a video of it, because it would last 30 seconds. It's a good beer. It's a good pale. It's nice. I've had it on cask. The end.
That's a really good point. Go on, Mark.
No, I was going to say, sorry. I don't know much about Ansbach and Hobday outside of two of the darker beers that I've tried. Obviously, London Black being probably the most popular beer now, I reckon. Probably that and their lager that I know they do. And what was it they did? Was it a Pfeiffernuss? They did a Pfeiffernuss stout, didn't they, last year?
Yeah, Pfeiffernuss stout. It's out again recently. It's like their Christmas. It's like Germans buy like spiced stout.
That was really good. I got that through the Trembling Madness Advent calendar, and I was like, wow, I'm not much of a spicy sort of fan. I'm not, there's sort of spiced Christmas cookies and things like that. I'm not really too much. I think, which is a Pfeiffernuss, I think, or however you say it, I think that is a spiced Christmas cookie, isn't it? A Pfeiffernuss or something? Or
yes, it is. Yeah, that's what it's based on. Yeah. I've always called it Pfeffernuss, but I don't know whether my German's any better than anybody else's, to be fair. But...
Mate, don't look at me and think I'm saying it right, please.
I've seen some of your pronunciations, Mark. Yeah, we all give it a go sometimes.
We do. I feel like Del Boy sometimes.
Yeah, so no, it's I don't know what I was going to say there. Something. Yes, it's good. That's it. Trembling Madness. So I don't know, Mark, you were in York last year, weren't you? Did you swing by there?
Yes.
Because I was just walking along the street, going to meet my mate I was up there with, and I look a lot to the left of me and said, oh, there's a beer shop there. And looking, that looks pretty good. What's the name of it? Trembling Madness. And it dawned on me, oh yeah, they're in York. Hey. And so I popped in, and then I went back in with my mate, and he's well into sours. He brought himself some sours, and then we went upstairs, and there's a bar.
Mate.
There's a bar, and we've had a few in there, and they bring out these big, large Viking-sized portions of food. There's animal heads all over the place. It's brilliant. And That's only the second bar they have over there. The
Yeah.
House of Trembling Madness, which sadly only walked past and didn't have time to get to, or was missing my train. But yeah,
It feels like you're in the attic of Hogwarts, doesn't it? When you're up in that bar above their
Yeah.
above their bottle shop, it's quite something.
Have you
Yeah.
seen? Have you seen? If I go there, I kind of want to stay there. Have you seen the rooms they do? They've got 3 rooms upstairs somewhere as well that they rent out,
No.
and they're like one of them's like done in this like 1970s psychedelic style, kind of like oranges and browns, and like it looks fantastic, it looks brilliant. But
oh my
That-
god,
I
Place to
think they've
stay.
just got a very good product, haven't they? It's a lovely location just off the Shambles Market as well, isn't it? And
yeah,
that's the
Yeah.
first and only time I've been to York. It was quite whistle stop. I think it was less than 3 hours in total, but yeah, beautiful, beautiful place.
I was up there for York Beer Festival, and I remember you saying to me you thought it was okay, but now it's changed the location, and now I would say, yeah, it's very much a good beer festival. But I've been to dramatically much better ones. It was in the church this year.
Yeah,
Was doing mostly sours there, mostly because I was really feeling tired. I needed a spike of energy just to get me through it. And York itself is a really great town just to walk around. I walk around the whole wall.
Yeah.
I went into the Bluebell, which is possibly the smallest pub I have ever been in, and it's fantastic. The beer quality is there, excellent. And there's just 2 small rooms, and I swear to God, they are tiny little rooms, and they don't allow you to look at your mobile phone or swear or go in large groups, or you stand outside.
That sounds like a challenge to me.
It is.
was it owned by
It
Sam
is.
Smiths?
Yeah.
Samuel Smiths.
Don't recall.
Get away with
to be
it
honest.
now.
But yeah,
Stuart Sutherland, good evening. Thank you very much. He's drinking a Cinder Toffee Stout. I'm guessing it's the one we're all going to assume it is. Is that
Mm.
Hey, Stu.
the Bristol one? Yeah.
Yeah.
If not, there's probably others, but if it's the Bristol one, I've never had it, but it looks amazing. And there's another brewery I keep never quite getting round to because there's too many. Right?
Well, interestingly, New Bristol Brewery have got the old Signature Head brewer.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah. So I was down in Bristol getting the pop top done for the camper, and we went into Bristol and had a good chat with those guys. And I'd asked them. I did honestly ask them. I was like, your beer quality. Because I think kind of 2020, 2021, I kind of had them up there. That I didn't really drink a lot of them for a little while. Then put another order in probably. Or did I put an order in, or I might just pick some stuff up from a bottle shop? Actually, 4 cans from memory, and the quality just wasn't there. And I asked the guys. I said, can I ask? And then I had one of their beers recently, and I was like, oh, this could be back again. And it basically sort of goes with a brewer that they had in that they didn't really get on with. So hopefully they're back on the up, because I do really like them.
Yeah.
And
it does happen though, because they're very strong in bar drinking round local to me, and they did not like the fact I didn't put them up for an award at the end of last year. And I said, sorry, I just don't think it's like there. It's all very good, but it's just not there. There is just something missing, and I can't place it, but it's just not right. And but I did have a word with them. London Craft Beer Festival, and had a good old chat. Very keen to promote them, so very good to chat with them. If I get a chance, maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure about a lot of things at the moment. I can't produce. Well, I might as well just say this. I can't find time to finish 4 videos I did at GBBF. And I'm now going into month 3 of not being able to get that content out. So there you go. And I've got some massive names to talk about. there. So yeah. Ooh,
I've just
hello,
I've just had a little revelation. So Stuart's corrected as it's a honeycomb stout Friday feeling from Fierce Beer, which is a brilliant name for a honeycomb stout. Got that crunchy, think crunchy. It's Friday, isn't it?
Hmm. So
Fierce
Disco,
Beer.
is that a Perryvale beer? I see.
It is, and I'm glad you eventually asked. Let me just finish this point because Stuart Sutherland, I've just gone to the channel, and is that Stu from the Lager Logs, his own personal
Yeah, it's a
channel?
Lager Lock stew. Yeah.
I can just about make out the icon. Stu, welcome along. Hello, thank you. Yes, Resco, very well spotted. It is indeed a Perivale brewery, and I know you're probably bored of me banging on about Perivale, but it is my brewery. It's my local brewery. This one is a Hanwell Brown. So it's a modern brown ale. It's absolutely nothing like Newcastle brown ale because it's got New Zealand hops in it, Nelson Sauvin. And it's not really like a brown ale at all. It's more kind of best bitter IPA, but it's got those brown ale notes. It was brewed in connection with the local football team, Hanwell Town, who, for reasons I can't quite remember, I never quite worked out, have some affiliation with Newcastle United. They're actually called the London Geordies, and they play in black and white. So Perivale brewed a brown ale for them to go on their bar and actually put some out on the bar as well. So I picked one up today. And I'm drinking this mainly because they didn't put any of the latest beer, the pumpkin Hefeweizen, into bottles. It's only on the bar. So picked up a bottle of this instead.
I think everyone's got their brewery, haven't they? I mean, I know people will switch off when I start talking about Ampersand Brewery. I know people.
No, not at all. It's good. It's good that it's local, like, you know, and
no,
they've got some, it's another one. I've been in their web shop online, and I'm like, I could drink that, I could drink that, I could drink that, I could drink that, and it ends up being a little bit too many, and I can't pull the trigger because I just would spend. I know what you mean.
I do it all the time. I do it all the time.
But yeah, so yeah, Perivale. I've been spending quite a lot of time up there this year because it's not even, well, it is kind of close. It's a 45-minute walk, but I'm quite into a jolly good walk that ends in a beer. So much so that in the last month, as it was, that now I'm actually working up there 2 days a week on the bar and in the brewery. So it's kind of my brewery now.
Literally is your brewery, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, for a couple of days a week, anyway. Yeah,
well,
I'm quite pleased with that. It's a really cool place. It's like there's no actual brewery. Well, there's no actual there's a tap room, but there's no room. It's like all out. It's like a public area that the council own, and they want want people to use it. So it's like on a walking route. It's on a footpath. There's like a little cafe there. Horsenden Loaf do like fresh bread. They do like wood-fired pizzas on the weekend and stuff like that. And it's just it's all outside drinking. There's no inside drinking at all. There's no actual room or like pub or whatever. And it's the beer served from we've got a new bar over the summer, and it's just it's almost in the car park. The beer is served from like a cabin in the car park, and then there's just like a big seating area. They got a big tent cover the courtyard, so there is a bit of undercover. And it's just really cool up there. It's really friendly. Everybody's really great, and there's some really good beers on. It's getting slightly bigger. He's just increased the tank size last year, so he's getting more beer out, and we just extended the license so we can open more than we were opening just once a month. Now we can open every weekend. So yeah, it's
brilliant.
It's
so good to hear those stories, isn't it? It's so good to hear those success stories. I think we got so used to, certainly 18 to 12 months ago, there were so many downer stories, and it's so good to hear of a brewery, doubling down and growing. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it
really is. The Lager Logs is closed for the month. Is that just a wee month off?
Okay.
Okay. But yeah, it's true. Anyway, talking of absolute war bags, here is Mr. Howard to hijack the stream. Hi, Jack.
Hello, Jack. You all right, mate?
Been waiting months to do that one on live.
Still there, Jack. Look, still there.
But it's good to see you. I haven't seen Jack for a while in comments.
Yes. So, blah.
Rasco, what have you been up to recently? You've got
Well, apart from going to York, not a lot really.
how was the festival there? Because you went to beer festival there.
Yeah, like I said, the festival's okay. The festival's all right. But York, as you both know, I think is a great town for just beerage. I went to Turning Point Bar, the Falcon. Really great establishment, very clean. And it's just York is a town that really clearly appreciates cars. So much so, they slightly changed my opinion of Brew York. I don't hate Brew York. I don't dislike Brew York. But there's a lot of beer that they produce. I'm just like, okay, that's nice. And
still the finest beer names. Some of the finest beer names on the market. The best pub fun beer names.
That's it. I mean, for awards from beer names, have shitloads. But in terms of stuff on your lips and your tongue, it's like, okay, that's nice. And I can't really justify the hype. But I had some of their cask, and I don't recall where they're having much of their cask. It's all keg and can down here. And I'm thinking, okay, yeah. And I went into their brewery / tap room. I found it by accident. Nice experience. York is just a great town. I'm not kidding. I'm contemplating moving to York. I'm that impressed with it. You know,
I thought it was Lewis you were going to.
I can't afford it. I don't have £700,000. If I do, sorry, York, you're out the window. I'm going down to Lewis. But
yeah, that's a good little beer spot because I think Beaker Lewis, aren't they? Lewis Way, I think.
They are, yeah.
I did. I walked past their brewery. I've got a small 30-second, 1 minute video of me being on the wrong side of the river and I'm unable to get to their brewery. So I'll put that up at some point. I walked down. Yeah, I did some hiking around there in late August. Second hiking trip around Lewis. Yeah. And there's Harvey's and then there's Abyss. And they've just got decent pubs which respect beer. And
funny you should mention Abyss because that's coming up.
Oh,
they used to have a brewery down there called Good Times.
Yeah. Yes.
Probably one of the best double IPAs I've ever drunk in my life from Good Times. And then I think I drunk it, and then 4 weeks later, their brewery, I think it was an old thatched brewery or an old thatched barn, it got struck by lightning and burnt to the ground.
Yeah. Didn't they have some crowdfunding appeal for that? I'm not sure what happened though.
I'd like to. Someone will know. Someone will know if you're in the chat and you know, or if someone watches this in the comments, let me know. They have come back, but I can't for the life of me think of what name. Under what name.
I remember seeing that story. I didn't realise it was in Lewis, though. I thought it was out your neck of the woods, out Suffolk, Norfolk way, and it was a different brewery. But maybe it's two breweries that got that. But I do remember that story. Yeah, and I'm sure they have come back, and I can't remember either. But yeah,
but that whole area, Suffolk, like Burning Sky. Oh man, I just love every single drop. I've not had a bad drop so far, but there's always first time. Even Anspach Hod, they sometimes produce a bad beer. That's pretty bad.
Oh, nice one, Christopher. We've got a Yorkshireman in, born in York, Christopher. So nice. We're talking about York and York beers on this episode.
Indeed. I fully get why you endorse York as your local brewery, or you used to call it your local, but not your local disco.
Good things.
Sorry, what was that, Rasco? Which one?
York. You used to refer to York as your local brewery area. But they're not your local.
Yorkshire, I suppose during lockdown, Yorkshire was probably the biggest area. So the most amount of beers I'd got from my area. Because again, obviously it's a big area and there's so many breweries in Yorkshire, and they were bringing out some really good stuff. So yeah, Yorkshire is probably the biggest area, and probably even still when I order. Don't order so much online these days, but It definitely went York, Scotland, northeast, probably, maybe London, I suppose, southeast. But yeah, York, just so many good breweries up there.
Yeah, no doubt.
I've just had a look. It was called Good Things, not Good Times. It was called Good Things, and they were sort of more Crowborough way in Sussex.
Oh, right, yeah, a bit further inland.
But yeah, I need to find out what they've come back as, because that double IPA was like one of those beers where I was like, well, I'm not going to forget this for a long time.
Is anyone? I've got it upstairs actually. I haven't brought it down today. The triple IPA Oregon Trail version from Elusive. I've had. Oh, Mark's face is like,
yeah.
Yeah. I've had the Oregon Trail, and I thought it was all right, but the triple, I know.
The Oregon Trail is one of my favourite beers ever. It'll always have a place up on my shelves. I thought the triple, it was aggressive. It was an aggressive beer, and you know, a West Coast triple, you're expecting nothing more than an aggressive beer, but it just, you know, like the Oregon Trail, I think it's got a nice little balance to it, a nice caramel, biscuity sort of sweet balance that balances off those West Coast hot sort of notes. Whereas the triple, it was just all aggressive, bitter, piney, resinous hop, and there was nothing really else to it for me. And I just thought it was it was almost one of them beers where I drank it and I thought, has this been made purely to be aggressive? And I'm sure it's not, because Andy and Elusive are I love Elusive Brewery. I really, really do. I think they're fantastic. They don't get the credit they deserve, in my opinion, a lot of the time. But
really,
for me, that wasn't their finest beer. And I love Oregon Trail.
I would say Elusive are probably fairly hop forward. They do love showcasing hops. I mean, they love. I think Andy, the owner, his favorite beer style is like black IPA. So he loves putting darker malts and massive hops together, which doesn't sit well with me at all, any more than triple IPAs or double IPAs, or in fact IPAs. So I have had an order out of Elusive, but I've had to be very selective because they do quite a decent stout as well. So like I can't get a lot out of Elusive because I'm not gambling that amount of money. Not saying about the price, we know why the price is the price, but I'm not going to gamble on some hop forward, hop heavy sludge.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think that, and like you are, I think you're right in what you say. They are a hop showcase brewery. I mean, I think they've certainly got. They've got. Is it called Final Lap, and then Level Up? Okay. That's a series of beers. So I think Final Lap was on like Final Lap or lap number 24, and it was the 24th iteration of that beer, and it's sort of a hop showcase. It'll be a Talus beer, and it'll be, you know, Sriracha Ace, and you know, and the same with the Level Up. I think that's an American red ale that they hop differently every time, and that was on iteration 20 odd.
Level Up, yeah.
But
well, really talking of hops, and as we did of Abyss, I'm actually going to move on to a probably fairly hop forward beer from Abyss. Philip says, "Hi, Rasco. Rasco, what have you cracking on next, then, sir? I see you cracking another beer, Sneaky."
I am. I'm not wasting any time. I had a beer in 2 weeks or a week. Explosion IPA West Coast. Yeah, West Coast IPA.
Nice.
Yeah, 6%. It's kind of got a darky color.
Sorry, what was the brewery? I missed it. What was the brewery?
It is Powder Monkey.
Powder Monkey. Cool. I've heard of them, but not really seen anything too much about it.
What have you just popped there this day?
I've just popped, as we were talking about Abyss before, I happened to line up an Abyss Dayglow IPA.
Oh, nice.
Now, this is not entirely my thing, but I was kind of shiny and brightly coloured cans. I do love a bit of can artwork, but I'm cracking this because I don't think I'll get around to like reviewing it because it's really difficult to photograph. But it's an IPA and it's got, what did I say? I can't read the can. This is terrible. Yeah, it's got 3 different hops in it, but I placed an order with Abyss last week because they had a beer called Disco Disco. So I had to pop a few other beers on the order to make it worthwhile. And I actually took a chance. I went with a couple of IPAs and a hazy pale. So this is one of them, but it looks pretty good. It looks pretty juicy and
it looks lovely. That
hazy and tidy. Nice, nice kind of slightly creamy, bubbly head on it. So I've got to give them a go now and again. But
absolutely. This is a kind of tropic piney, and I mean it's piney with a bit of a stingy bite. Lovely.
See, that's always my problem, Mark, with hoppier beers. That bite, that I kind of prefer West Coast because it's got a more orangey note. This one, not unexpectedly, it's got a kind of waft of grapefruit, which I don't like, but it kind of settles. It's got oats in it, so it kind of pillows it out a bit, makes it a bit softer. Where are you sitting with hops yourself, Mark? Like in beers, are you like hop fiend, or you like? I know you do a fair mix and stuff, but
I think I've got a bit, probably much like everybody else, I got a bit hopped out. I don't know if anyone else felt the same. I think I know a lot of people did.
I never hopped in, let alone hopped out.
Well, you done well there. I mean, the problem is, I think every beer that you touched, it just felt like it was just a sweet. I got kind of towards end of 2021, 2022. I kind of got sick of going pineapple, grapefruit, passion fruit, mango, and it kind of, I don't know, it just got tiring. I've then gone to more malt forward beers, a lot more best bitters, porters, milds, lagers, certainly lagers. But I feel like I had this conversation yesterday on the live that I was doing. A lot of people go into stouts at Christmas time. I think I'm going to go back into hop beers because stouts have been a really weird thing in the craft beer world now for a little while. I think it's coming back around and things are settling down on the stout world. I mean, just lobbing, it's like if it's sweet and it's, confectionery style, it gets lobbed in a stout at the moment. So I'm probably going to have a season off of stouts and just go hop in again.
I mean, for me, I've never found a beer that's too sweet. I don't mind a sweet beer, but again, that's just my palate because with hops, you mentioned grapefruit there, and I've always say I don't like grapefruit. Give me a grapefruit, I'm not really interested. So for a lot of beers that pervade that kind of hop, certainly that initial hop spike, it's not bad when it rounds out and you sort of get kind of a lilt, kind of like a can of lilt. Can you even get lilt anymore? Has anybody ever seen lilt? Because I haven't seen it for ages. But...
It's Fanta. It's Fanta, like the fan, and the flavour is lilt.
Right.
But it's under the Fanta name now. But it does exist just about,
Wow. I haven't even looked for it for a while. But that said, and I've got to tell Crummy Beard this because me and him are sort of general haters of Citra-based beers. And I've long said this. I actually unexpectedly, just completely by accident, had a really good Citra-based beer this week. And I was shocked. And I wish I'd reviewed it. It was just, I've still got boxes from Beer 52 and because I forget to cancel. And it's one of those that I don't think much of it. It's just, and it said Citra and I thought, I'm not going to like this. I'm going to shandy this. And most Citra beers I just shandy because then it makes it more lilt-like. And it was one from, I think it's called Vaux up in Sunderland, northeast way. And it's called All About Citra. And again, I think it was oats that kind of smoothed it out a bit. And I'm like, this is actually really nice. I didn't actually need to put any lemonade in it, but I was really surprised. So I have found a Citra beer I can drink.
Like you say, with that oats, that slight creaminess might just take the spike, like you say, that spikiness away. And
absolutely, yeah, that's a good point. Where did you get the beer from, Rasco?
I don't know. I think I got it. I went on holiday to Dorset over the summer. And I picked up a few beers in my local Art and Craft in Croydon, and I planned to take them with me on holiday, and I didn't. I didn't have room in my bag. So I think this is one of those cans.
To be fair, there's plenty of decent breweries down in Dorset as well, and I guess that's where Powder Monkey are, I think.
Yes, but I didn't pick it up from Powder Monkey. It's where I was staying. There was a local brewery. I'll look it up actually. And I had some of their beers.
I tell you, who does good stuff from Dorset is Rob Bramall Backroom Brewery. Goes to Dorset on holiday every year, and he does a lot of good reviews and stuff from local Dorset breweries.
Yeah, I saw some of his videos that he was doing where they were quite Dorset centric.
Yeah. That's just I think it's just his annual holiday, like getting out north.
Hall of Woodhouse, Dorset, aren't they? Blandford.
Yeah, Blandford Forum. Yeah.
I was there just a little while ago. Oh, what am I going to do? I was going to join you with an IPA because I thought I might have to, but
you don't have to. It's not compulsory.
You do get out of it, Mark.
I've got a bit. I've got quite a random collab here. Adnams and Verdant.
Yeah, I saw that one. Like, that would be interesting because I am. Well, I know Adams is kind of local to you, isn't it, Mark? And I'm.
Yeah, very.
I am. I have for a number of years. Well, I don't like Adnams beers generally. That's not to say they're terrible beers. I think they're great beers. Again, they just don't sit on my palate like beers from. Traditionally Norfolk and Suffolk beers. It's just that hot profile, and certainly Adnams, certainly Ghost Ship, and several others. I think I had too many bad pints of them in the beginning. I've just given up on them. I did have a really good stout for them at GBBF once. I think 2019. It was like a coconut stout, and that was really nice. But Adnams generally, I've got to go back. I think now because my palate's changed a bit more, tasting beers. I've got to go back and try Ghost Ship again on a review and just see what I can get. I think there's too much Ghost Ship, but yeah, Adnams traditional brewery, Verdant, very craft brewery. Let's see how it sits.
Yeah, I'll probably do that in a minute. I'm gonna go to a dark beer now, and I'm gonna go. I'm gonna get a Founders Porter out.
Yeah. So you mentioned. Go ahead. But I'm gonna about to lean into something and maybe go into a rant.
Mark.
Yes.
Could we not? I'll tell you why later.
What, that?
No, the Founders. Because later on we'll Google Founders and controversy and we'll work out why we won't do that.
I will not have this one now. What am I going to do here? I'll tell you what I'm going to do.
Because I don't know whether Founders have sorted out their shit yet or not.
I didn't know there was stuff with Founders.
Yeah, it kind of falls by the wayside a lot because, I mean, it was a few years ago, but it was certainly at the beginning of lockdown. There was a big court case, and I think it's one of those breweries that me and Masco said we just weren't going to touch on the channel just in case because, it gets people annoyed.
No, I will stay away from that, mate. So
what I will say is some of their beers do look really good, so I'm really pissed off that we can't do it because some of their stouts look amazing. But
I'll tell you what, then we'll go for Schlenkerla Märzen.
Well, there you go.
Now that beer brewery is one of the inspirations by Anspach Hobsday's Smoked Brown. So if you've ever had their Smoked Brown, they actually say this is what inspired it. That is a friend of mine called it barbecue beer, and I can't argue with that. Back to my point, what I had in Dorset, I had the Isle of Purbeck Brewery. Very good brewery. The three beers I've had from there are very good. Yeah. So yes, that's what I got to do. Another thing I got up to, this is what I not got up to. I got invited to a preview drink at Echo Brewery, who've now opened up their tap room. I've now got no longer doing gypsy brewing stuff. I've actually got a space, and I couldn't make it. The Wandsworth Beer Festival, Halloween Festival, which had a Texan tap takeover, I couldn't make it. The
Hope, that's quite strange.
Yeah,
Halloween. I don't know. Was it like Texas Chainsaw Massacre kind of thing or something? I don't know.
I don't know. And the Hope, who has been with the Hope Pub, which is won an award as one of the best pubs in London and rated one of the best in the country. Finally, has been asking for me because I haven't been by since February.
You haven't been to the Hope all year.
Pretty much,
I
yeah.
thought you popped in every Thursday.
No, because I do my samurai training on a Thursday.
Yeah, I thought
So
you popped in for a pint after you've been wanging your sword around.
no, that's
I thought Rasco normally gets his sword out after a few beers.
well,
Only on a Thursday night.
no, on a Tuesday because the Tuesday class is right next to the Gus Shelton one. The Thursday class is nowhere near. But yes, so I don't go to the Tuesday one anymore, which is quite good for my bank account.
When a Japanese knight brings a knife to a fight, that's samurai. That's why I don't sing very often on the channel.
I was going to say, you get copyright strike. That was so close.
Yes, sorry, our viewing numbers dropping. Our
I
subscription
forget.
dropping.
I genuinely forget how punchy this beer is because I'd probably drink it once a year. My God, it's like, it just smells. It smells like the griddle on a barbecue after a day, after a day of cooking.
That's
Kind
a
of got a
great analogy,
smoky, almost like a charcoaly. Oh my God! I'll tell you what it reminds me of, and this isn't gonna. It's not the most It's not the most sort of fantasy thing in the world. It reminds me when my mum used to buy those cheese selection bags from Tesco's, and when you get toward once you've had all the ones you liked, you got all the German smoked ones. It just smells like German smoked cheese.
Oh,
Cheers, everybody.
yeah.
I'm jealous.
I'm fairly certain that was the one. Did we not have that in a pub in Cardiff on Brownsville Stag Do? And we said
I don't think it was.
Drinking bacon.
Yeah, I don't think it was. I think it was something else. It could have been.
Okay. It was just a very bacon one. I assume that's what it was. Good to see him, Mersey Beers. Adam from Mersey Beers. If you want any fact checks to be done, now is the time because Adam will tell you stuff.
Anyway, hang on, Adam. I was watching Mark's live last night for a little bit, and you mentioned a comment that White Hag are the tiny rebel of Ireland or something like that.
He did say that.
But back, I've met Bob, the owner or head brewer of White Hag. No way are they like Tiny Rebel. I'm sorry.
I'm guessing you meant in the kind of beer styles that they've come out with some fairly wacky stuff, like that green watermelon, is it watermelon and mint or something?
Yeah, watermelon.
I've had it. It's all right. I mean, they do a lot better beers.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
I do have a white.
Where is it? It really was, a promo beer. But anyone,
that's a point. I was going to say, you got that? Yeah.
Atlantean.
I was going to say in your stream last night, I popped in to say hello. Well, we was just finishing the transfer of an oatmeal stout that had taken. Not an oatmeal. So we just fancied bottling and kegging a pale ale. It had taken a while. We got there, and then I turned around, just watching your stream, said hello, and then something else happened, and we had to nip off. But I'd normally be watching it, but I was still at the brewery last night.
Good.
I'll tell you what that Schlenkerla has got that I haven't noticed on it before. It's got a lovely toffee sweetness.
Yes.
I think I've always been so overpowered with that smokiness because the smoked beers aren't something I go to normally, and even their Helles, their smoked Helles. Well, it's not actually Schlenkerla do a Helles beer, and the bottle cap is right there.
Yes,
but it's not technically a smoked beer. It's a traditional Helles that they put in the same copper fermentation vessels that they've used for donkey's years. And obviously, copper's quite a porous metal, and it holds a lot of that smoky flavour. So there's a big smoky hit off of this off the Helles, so even when it's not really a smoked beer, I can notice the smoke. But yeah, it's quite nice.
I'm really sorry about this, Mark. I've just noticed Adam's comment, and I guess I've got to highlight it, but that's a very good point. I'd forgotten about that. There was a problem with White Hag, but I think that should read former head brewer. There was an issue a couple of years ago with White Hag. It was something he posted. So I think they've changed now. So we're probably okay there. I have no idea. But Adam will, like I said, Adam will always fact check us and tell us where we've got wrong.
What you're saying
It wasn't Bob.
I don't know. I don't think so. No, like I say, they were. If it wasn't in the last year or two, then I think it was the new head brewer you must have met. I don't know.
Or was Bob the owner? I can't remember.
We always tread this path of, do you know what I mean? It depends what you see and what news you ingest and where you see it and stuff like that. I mean, I probably spend a bit more time on social media because I kind of have the time. But you guys who are out working all week, it's easy to miss a post or a thing about who does what and said what and what we should and shouldn't be drinking. But you know, I don't even drink beer mungle. Certainly not on the channel. I haven't bought a beer mungle beer, and you know who I'm talking about, even though I can't bring myself to say the name of the brewery, but that Scottish brewery. But it's a fucking minefield out there, isn't it, man?
I don't know. I don't agree. Actually, I've always said this. Pretty much everything you just said. To be honest,
you never agree with anything
I don't
say
care.
Anyway.
This is the Rasco and Disco I came on for.
Thank you. About time. No, I'm sorry. I don't agree. People telling me what I can and can't drink. Fuck you. You want to get on the wrong side of me very, very quickly. That's how you do it, pal. Or should we get to a
be
rant
fair, I won't tell you what you should and shouldn't drink. I will highlight the issues and the things like you said, founders. Like Adam's come back there with a problem with White Hag. And yeah, I won't tell you what to drink. Like I say, I will drink beer mungle. I just won't put it on the channel. I won't feature it because I just can't be bothered with the backlash and the people saying you shouldn't be drinking that. Like it is a fucking minefield though. To be fair,
it's a difficult one. I think it's probably a sign of the times a little bit. Yeah, I mean,
though, I think it's backlashed on people. It's had a reverse effect. People saying you can't do this. I think, look, there was this time when people would, for 6 months, people didn't drink brew shit dog, and now it's back to normal. Yeah, shit dog. It's back to normal. There was a documentary. There was an excellently put together podcast documentary on the BBC saying what's all going on there, and business as usual. It's gone nowhere. And funny enough, if you listen to one of the people who broke the silence of it, she said this would go on for a bit, and then that's it. It continues. It's look, if you're either in or you're out. You know, don't commit to a fight unless you're willing to go all the way. By the way, did anyone see Tyson Fury last week? He's so lost that fight.
That is I can't believe I paid £24.95 to watch that rubbish.
Ooh.
Ouch. You mug.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I watched it and I thought, I don't know, if there was ever a fight where it was like boxing's rigged or there's this kind of controversy thing about boxing, it would have been that fight. I like Tyson Fury. I like his story. I don't agree with everything he says and does because I think he's said some horrible stuff in the past about women and stuff like that. And I've got a daughter and a wife and a mother, you know, so it doesn't sit right with me. But I like the way he come back, the mental health side of things, the way he come back to be world champion again and stuff. And so, but my point is, I wanted him to win that fight because then I wanted him to go on to maybe the big showdown with Joshua in some way. I don't know. And I watched that fight, and I was like, he looks horrendously overweight. And don't get me wrong, I've not got Mo Farah's physique myself, but I'm not a professional boxer. He looks like he was
you're more professional drinker. You're a professional drinker almost, and you have the physique to show it. Yeah,
that's part of the problem. But he looked horrendously overweight. He looked like he hadn't prepared for what was going to be in front of him, and he lost it was what was it, a 10-round fight in the end, Rasco, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not a boxing expert, but I probably had him with 3 rounds. But the other guy, there was probably a couple of rounds where it was a bit 1 or 2 that were drawn, but the other guy had it, and Ngannou, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think even Ngannou's reaction, like after the fight, was like, yeah, you win some, you lose some. It's like, mate, I'd be raging if I was Ngannou. Give a shot like that,
I'd
18
be
to 1
waiting
or
if I
whatever it was
paid
to win it.
$24.95, to be honest. Rasco, did you pay $24.95 to watch it?
No, because it was on in the art and craft.
They paid $24.95 for you to watch it.
Yeah, so yeah, they did, and it was very enjoyable. It was the first bit of boxing I've watched in years. I was quite impressed by Ngannou.
Yeah.
But the look of corruption was all over Mike Tyson's face when they walked on. It reeked of corruption. I'm sorry to say this, but it stank. People were saying, "Oh, he's going to get battered. He's going to get battered." He even moved like Mike Tyson. And Mike Tyson does a Japanese move called taisabaki, where it's in all Japanese martial arts and how you move. You notice how Tyson rarely ever bounced up and down, but he just moved to the side, zigzagged almost to corner the opponent in. And I saw that, and I wouldn't say Fury got battered, but he took a hammering and he went down. And it was just bullshit, absolute bullshit. Maybe a few more years until I watched boxing.
Yeah, that was pretty rank. I mean, the fact that it's in we were just on the moral train a minute ago. From a moral perspective, it's in a state where, we what goes on in that state. All they dragged in all the celebrities from all corners of the globe, didn't they? Regardless of profession. Not saying it only had to be sports people, but it was every the world and his wife. If you were famous, if you had, if you had a couple.
I think Ronaldo was charging by the hour to sit there, and watch it.
It was all a show. It was all put on. It was almost like a soap, a staged soap type of boxing that I'd never seen before. Fury, obviously, in Adam's comment, Fury clearly didn't do a proper training camp. No, I agree with you, Adam. He looked overweight. He looked totally disinterested from the moment he walked in the ring to the moment he walked out. He just didn't have that intensity. He's normally he's normally shoulders forward intense, but he was just sort of standing back. Yeah.
Oh, well. Anyway. Back to
There's
beer.
a reason I call it country canvas dancing.
Anyway, so Mark, we've got some questions for you. These are from Disco actually, but I'm going to read them out. What's your earliest beer memory?
Quick fire questions. I just come up off the cuff. So yeah, sorry, Rasco, go on, mate.
What's your earliest beer memory?
My earliest beer memory is going down. It's not necessarily me drinking it, but my earliest beer memory is going down.
That story could go anywhere.
Yeah.
Going down. Not that type of channel.
Going down Bickley Cricket Club. So Bickley, not probably a million miles from you guys, I don't think. Near Bromley.
Not far
Very
from
close
Glasgow.
Yeah. So my grandparents lived in Bickley, South Borough Lane. Near the station, and then at the top of the road there was a cricket club. And I remember my nan, they had this like metal filing cabinet, like the 3-drawer filing cabinet thing. And my nan used to give my granddad a $5 a day, and he used to go down the cricket club, and I used to go with him when he's not alive anymore, bless him. He died quite a few years ago, but yeah, seeing my granddad down the cricket club with beer, that's probably my earliest beer memory.
Fair play, that's good stuff.
That's a good one.
Yep. All right. What's the first beer you ever drank?
Oh, I said this on a podcast the other day. It was probably a beer that I drank like a pint of. Like it was in I remember someone buying me a pint. I must have been about 14 at a rugby club in Kent, and it was a Ranjiboom.
Wow. Okay.
because
Yeah.
Shepherd Neame used to brew Oranjeboom under license.
Yeah.
So you used to get it a lot in Kent, and the Shepherd Neame were big into sponsoring, much like Adnams are around here, and probably other breweries are around you. Your guys, you find that there's one brewery that kind of dominates the sports clubs, and it was Shepherd Neame. And they didn't brew at the time. They didn't really brew a lager. Shepherd Neame invented another brewery called the Faversham Steam Brewery that done a couple of lagers, but at that time they didn't have a lager, and they used to supplement their range with Oranjeboom and Hurleman. So Oranjeboom was the first beer that I drank where it was like a pint for me, you know.
And what was that's a great because the supplement to that question is like, what was your first legal pint? Is it like
first
that might not
pint?
be the same thing?
That would have probably have been my 18th birthday. I went to it was called the Badger Indian in Tenterden. So I used to go to school in Tenterden. If anyone knows a little town called Tenterden, and there was a really good Indian. Yeah. Literally not far from the steam railway. That into town, and there was an Indian called the Badger. So I imagine I probably would have had. It would have been a pint of Cobra in there. I'd normally go for is it Tiger? No,
Kingfisher.
Sorry, Kingfisher.
That's basically the three in it: Tiger, Kingfisher, or Cobra.
But it probably would have been a Cobra in the Badger on my 18th birthday.
Evening Shark. Yes, we're still waffling. We're just
Hey,
asking Mark some cutting crucial questions. Question 3, Raskit.
Furthest beer from home.
Sorry?
Furthest beer from home.
What that I've drunk?
Well, that's either the beer from the furthest away from home currently. Now, bear in mind, I know you've lived in Australia for a bit, so
I didn't make it to Australia. Done America for a bit.
So when in the UK, what's the furthest beer from the UK that you've probably drunk, like in the UK?
My sister does live in New Zealand, and she sent over some New Zealand beers, and they were really good. I think there was one. There's one brewery called like Fahrenheit or something. It was really good. They released the same pale ale, same malt. It was a split. I think it was a split batch. So they brewed a pale ale, split the batch, and then hopped it with obviously Nelson Sauvin. Nelson. They hopped it with Nelson Sauvin from a different latitude. No, longitude.
Yeah,
the beers were called Longitude. There was hop.
That was hot with Nelson. So
probably a very similar tasting beer, but it was just a really interesting couple of beers she bought me. Same brewery. They were sold as a pair, and it was good to taste the different longitude because basically the hops that were put into the brew were from different longitudes. Same family of hops, everything. But yeah. Those beers. Sorry, waffled on.
Great shout, super.
Quite good little thing.
Yeah. It's been 15 years since I was in New Zealand, and they didn't have quite the range that I've got now. There's basically like 5 breweries, I think. But now
they
there's
send
a
me
lot
photos all the time, and I'm like, oh my god, some of the beers you're drinking, you don't. They're not really massive beer heads. They enjoy a beer, but they're not massive beer heads. And I think you don't know how good that stuff is.
The thing is, it's just that the hops that they're producing. They're just off the fucking chart.
Yeah,
I mean, it really is.
They've got good soil. They've got good soil, good temperament. Like obviously a lot of sun, but also a lot of rain, and it's just really fertile growing agriculture. You know,
I just find those. I find them really fragrant, really sweet. Definitely the softer end of the stone fruit and the kind of tropical spectrum. Then Nelson Sauvin, that can be quite grapey and viney, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
And it's just a change from those West Coast danky hops that we've kind of got used to over here. It's quite unusual to get. If I see an Antipodean beer like a New Zealand pale, I'd probably go as far to say a New Zealand pale is probably one of my favourite styles of beer because it's just
wow.
Do you know what I mean?
You definitely, in that case, I'm going to go on about it again, but you definitely need to come see me at Perivale because their flagship beer is called Very Pale. because it's from Perivale. But because one of the owners is from New Zealand, it's hopped with Nelson and Motueka. So it's a New Zealand pale ale, basically. It's absolutely fabulous beer. I'll send you some.
No, that'd be amazing. Thank you.
Head on, Vasco.
Question number 4. Weirdest adjunct you have ever had in a beer?
Oh, flipping it. That's a good question, that.
You might have mentioned it earlier with Star Anise. So
Star Anise is a bit of a random one. It is random. I'm just looking along the line. I've got like some old. I mean, some of that Northern Monk stuff was just a load of nonsense, wasn't it?
Yeah. They claimed roast potatoes. I don't know.
Oh, honestly.
By the way, Disco, I saw you on John's show last week. And Captain Meat calling you a weirdo. It's not often I want to come to your defense, but I agree with you. But I agree with him that you're a weirdo, but just not in that context.
Christ almighty.
I mean, I openly admit to being a bit weird sometimes. Like, that's fine.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I think Captain Meat meant it in the best intentions.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I reckon probably some apple crud that Northern Monk put in those apple pie beers or whatever.
Yeah, I still got them in the cupboard. I never got round to drinking them in the end.
Honestly, do yourself a favour and just lob them in the bin.
No, I'm going to drink them.
Absolutely rubbish.
My idea for a video of that is I was just going to clip your bit and say, Mark told me not to do it, and all the other beer reviewers that told me not to do it, but I'm doing it anyway. Because those sort of bad reviews on a beer that look quite good, the beers look, in theory, quite good. So if I see a bad review, it kind of makes me want to drink it more. But I take your point that it probably is going to be shit.
Yeah, we'll probably come back to Northern Monk in a bit because I'd like to have this chat with you guys about Northern Monk.
Okay.
Go for it. Yeah. All right. We've got 2 more questions for you.
Yeah, go on.
Right.
Hit me with those and then we'll do Northern Monk.
Okay. Given the free reign of breweries, what beer would you brew?
Yeah. So if you had a brewery for a day and you had no pretty much object on adjuncts, hops, yeast, malt, what would you brew?
After banging the drum for New Zealand hops, I'm going to totally disregard that. I actually tasted a beer that I would brew. I spoke about it briefly yesterday. I would brew a nice, soft, slightly using oats. I would brew a nice, soft, probably 5.2 pale ale using Mosaic and Sabro.
Okay, that's interesting.
And I'm sure that I tasted the beer of my fantasies when I was at Left-Handed Giant. The same day I went to New Bristol Brewery, actually. Left-Handed Giant got a beautiful, beautiful tap room on the Avon River going through Bristol.
Just across that bridge, it looks great.
Oh, honestly, it's beautiful. It would have been. It's a beautiful. Just a tangent. It's got that old kind of sandy colour brick, and there's like 45 layers of paint on the brick in some places, and it would have been one of the old. It's beautiful, and it would have been one of the old warehouses where they would have pulled like the grain in off the ships back in the day in Bristol. Really, steeped in history. But yeah, they had a 5. I think it was a 5% Mosaic and Sabro hopped pale. When I saw it, I was like, standing at the bar waiting.
Wow.
That was blooming good. Some of the best beers I've had this year have been from that occasion, being in that brew place.
Sweet. Wow. I'm never sure about Sabro. I think this has got Sabro in it. I'm going to check now. I'm never quite sure about all those kind of hops. They all seem the same to me, but that's a great shout.
Sabro's known for being coconut, but I get so much lime out of Sabro. Like I love lime.
I never get coconut out of any beer, even with Sabro, and it's just one of those flavor profiles I don't quite. Coconut and vanilla. Very rarely can I actually pinpoint the taste of it.
they're subtle. They're very subtle. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
not
definitely.
not beating down the door, but they're there. I get them. I love vanilla ice cream. I even make the stuff. It's I love it, but it's a smooth glider on your tongue. And I mean, if it was shouting at you, it's doing something wrong.
There you go. Lime, coconut, and tangerine from Sabro.
I've got one more question I'm adding on, right?
Yep.
And I'm going to plug myself in the channel. In the upcoming interviews I've got coming up with some very big beer people, as soon as I get around to editing them, I'm very sorry that I haven't done it already. I asked them this question. Desert Island beer. Mark, you're trapped on Desert Island, but you've got unlimited access to one beer or one brewery. Which is it?
The brewery, Weisstefana.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Superb. Yeah. Yeah. Vice beer or something different?
I like their Helles. I think their Vice beer. I think Franziskaner. If we're talking big Vice beers, I think Franziskaner has the Weisstefana Hefeweiss on toast, but their Helles is lovely. And their Dunkelweiss, or the Dunkelweizen, sorry, is an absolute joke.
Oh,
good. Right.
Interesting, because I love a Dunkel, and I've definitely had the Vines. To be fair, it didn't stand out, but I'm fairly certain it was okay.
Yeah, they have a
joke as in good or joke as in bad.
They have a Weissen's like solid enough. Do you know what I mean? But their Dunkelweiss is just a joke. And someone was telling me about Weisstefana Vitus, not a beer I've had yet, purely because it's probably not been on Beers of Europe's website where I normally buy my German beer from. But I think I just find Weisstefana 7 out of 10 every time as a minimum, and then they'll pop in like that Dunkelweiss where it is literally an 8 or a 9 or a 10 out of 10. It's just lovely.
Yeah, it is. Right. Mark, I'm going to again plug myself. Me.
That's all right, mate. Go for it. It's your show.
It never happens.
You've got to listen when I finally put them up, which hopefully starts next week. The interviews I've got coming up. You're gonna.
Are you allowed to mention names yet, or is it all surprise?
Okay, then. If as you asked, I've got Pete Brown. I've got Paul from Anspach Hobday, the co-founder and brewer. Emma Inch, who has just completed a new podcast series on beer and mental health. Kelly is back again.
Really?
Yes.
Oh wow.
And David, forgive me for the pronunciation of the second name, Jasreden, who has written the Desi Pub book. Yes. Yeah, I've got all of them, all to edit. Oh, and Matt Mackay again, which...
Oh, that's a name I recognise.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I've interviewed him before. He's a friend of ours.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets about it, and he's a whiskey man, not a beer man, though. But he is a beer man.
He's very much a beer man. He just makes whiskey.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, so that's what I've got, and it's been sitting on my palate plate for a while. This is turning into a Rasco Sulk, by the way, and it's actually been weighing me down a bit. Enough about that for another time.
I've got three videos in edit I've not got round to, so
okay. Are we past the golden age of beer, and does the term craft beer mean anything? I don't think it does.
There's a Stu.
I don't think
Good night, sir. We'll see you online at some point. Stu's away.
Take care, Stu, mate.
Oh no, but hang on, do you want to rant about Northern Monk and ask us? Because actually I think what you're about to say about Northern Monk would tie into what I just said.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, it does. It really, really does. Should we do? What do you want to do? Northern Monk now or Northern Monk after?
Both at the same time.
Okay, both at the same time.
Beer number 3.
I think Northern Monk are the example the example for people that do have the opinion that craft beer has had its day, craft beer is dead, craft beer doesn't exist anymore. Craft, and all the negative kind of comments about craft beer and where it's going. They have their fall from grace for me. It goes beyond the supermarket stuff, by the way. I'm not just saying the Aunt Bessie's beer is bad, they're falling from grace. There's a couple of the bottle shop bits that I've tasted from them, and it hasn't been quite there the way it used to be. And there is a case. There is an absolute case, I believe. There is an absolute case to say that craft beer isn't the place it was 2 years ago.
Keep going, Mark. Give me a second. I'm listening.
That's all right. I think when you look at, some of the breweries have had stuff from this year. Breweries like Braybrook, for instance, up in Market Harbour in Leicestershire, producing fantastic lagers. Who else? Vibrant Forest, Asvec, Sure Shot, Hackney Church. I'm just looking at some of the bottles I've just got laying around here. Who else? New Bristol are back on the scene now. Burnt Mill, Duration. It's just the household names have changed. I think. I think there has been quite a clamber to the top, and I think Northern Monk are well in that now. They are, to me, at a baseline at least, no better than your Brewdogs, your Tiny Rebels, and breweries like that. But I think there's just been a shift, and they're some of the first names that we always associate with craft beer, especially Northern Monk recently, because they were just knocking out everything they did in any price bracket and sold in any shop was fantastic. But there's been a shift, and people need to get used to the shift. And the shift has been to, like I say, some of those breweries I just mentioned there. Burnt Mill, what a criminally underrated brewery. Perryvale sound like they're doing amazing things.
Yes.
And Batch and Hop Day, they're not even in the conversation when it comes to craft beer, but they should be. And I just think those household names that we associate with craft beer as almost like stakes in the ground. These guys are craft beer, boom. That's changed. And we have to get used to that because the quality's still there, in my opinion. I think the quality's there. I just think that maybe the race to the top, but for a beer drinker, it's more of a race to the bottom.
Yeah.
It's just got a bit more. It's been a bit more needed, I think, with the way the industry's been. And it's money. People have these Northern Monk have got salaries to pay. They've got mouths to feed, and they might do that better selling Aunt Bessie's apple pie crumble nonsense than they were trying to knock cans of Transient out at a baseline.
Again, Northern Monk and also Vocation, being in supermarkets, it's like what worries me, what concerns me about those two is they've expanded in order to do that supermarket thing, but I think they expanded because they were getting in supermarkets, so they've got more tanks in, expanded the brewery. It depends how reliant they are on that contract. That's any of the supermarket contracts. So if one of them goes, and we've seen it before with breweries where they lose a contract for some mass-produced stuff, and that's it. They haven't got enough background, like direct from the brewery, like you say, and all the regular background and the core beers, to sustain themselves. So it worries me how reliant they are on that mass production of supermarket thing.
Let
me check this because I was going to do a stout to finish. Right. Funny enough, I was going to talk kind of about some. I buy too much beer and I try not to buy from supermarkets. But funnily enough, the beer I was going to do on the third beer was this one I found only this afternoon in a co-op. Funnily enough, and it says a limited edition stout. It says robust coffee chocolate limited edition seasonal stout. And it's for the co-op, but it turns out it's brewed by Robinson. So I was going to do that. But now you're saying about Northern Monk, yesterday I was in Tesco's and I picked up Northern Monk's chocolate fudge brownie stout. So I might just try this one and just test your hypothesis a little bit, Mark. Not
Is
that
this-
this
is-
is indicative of all the range, but it's a stout, and I love a stout, especially something that might not have any adjuncts in it. It might just be the malt bill that gets fudge and chocolate flavors. So I don't
Is
know,
it
but it is
8.4%?
8%. It is 8.4%, yeah. So, whereas that one's only 4.5.
Because they released that, was it called Dark Matter with Wiper and True?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wiper and True are well capable of producing a good stout. I've had good stouts from Wiper and True, but that stout I had from that Dark Matter from, was it Morrison's? I think it was. I've just never been so bored. Like a Northern Monk stout, 8.4%. You'd be tripping over your own feet to get hold of that.
Yeah.
Well,
You would
I've
be, wouldn't
dickhead
you?
poured it, but
you know.
my first note is it pours really thin. But I've dickhead poured it
This
on
is
the
the whole
head,
point.
but-
Northern Monk Stouts, an 8.4% Northern Monk Stout should be decadent. It should have mouthfeel. It should be creamy. There should be a kind of luxurious touch. That's what Northern Monk in the stout department were to me.
I mean, let's be clear. Stouts don't have to be thick, luscious, skinny.
No.
Stouts can be thin and have a lot of flavour. But you're right. You do expect with that ABV to be, like you say, decadent, luxurious, comforting, that kind of thing.
Or if it isn't thick and creamy, it should have big raisiny, licoricey. If it's a bit thinner on the mouthfeel, to me, you're into those flavors rather than it being roasty.
Yeah, I mean,
but I'd be
when
interested.
it says chocolate fudge, you expect those kind of flavors and that kind
I'd be
of
interested to see.
and sweetness.
I think it's going to be a Brew Yorkie. This is what I think personally, and I'm not going to put flavor. I'm not going to try and taint anything. I think it's going to be very sweet, very Brew Yorkie.
Yeah.
Very it could be any stout under that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sorry, I just got my soapbox there. I do apologise for throwing my arms around everything.
I find it really interesting because, like I say, we brewed a stout the other week up at the brewery. It's a 5.5% oatmeal stout, right? So it looks fairly basic, you think. And this year's version is probably slightly thinner than last year's version. I used to describe it as like having 2 chocolate muffins and a coffee in a glass because it also had that kind of thick pastry mouthfeel. But that was 6.5%. Now it's 5.5%. It's gone down a little bit. Still tastes like 1 chocolate muffin and a coffee in a glass. It's slightly less thick. So, in terms of economies of scale, I think Paravel can do a much better stout with that soft pillowy mouthful because they're not brewing as much, haven't got as much cost on the basis. But Northern Monk should have that economy of scale and be able to still do that with that much larger batch size. I don't know. Let's see. I'm still waiting for the head to go down.
Yeah, I mean, no one's making noise about Northern Monk. And some time ago, we interviewed. This is going back to our Instagram days. We interviewed a said person. It said Northern Monk were in a bit of trouble, and you can go back and look at our interviews, and they said that live. That who knows? Maybe they would just curb the quality to ring in the cash. It is what it is. Unfortunately, it happens in every industry.
It doesn't. You know, I think that's the thing. You can stick all the. I mean, we talk about it from a passionate perspective, don't we? And it's worth me saying. It's not that I expect Northern Monk to do things. I don't. It's just from a passionate. It just comes from a passionate place because I want them to do good things. I really, really want them to do good things. But I suppose the crude business side, you don't get the size of Northern Monk without having a really sharp edge when it comes to the business side of things.
Yeah.
And who knows? This could be. Yeah. I'm not saying it is. It's a theory. This could be Northern Monk's last hurrah. The business might be losing money hand over fist. They're going to just sell out. You know, it's a business strategy. You know, sell out, just make some dollars, recover some losses, and then call it quits. I'm not saying that is it, but the problem is at the back of that crude business plan, there's passionate guys like us three and the other people and everybody watching that are on the end of this merry-go-round, really.
As long as the brewers and I suppose business owners have that same passion, then it should be okay.
Yeah.
Would you put Vocation in that same kind of mold? Because obviously they're still doing a very similar thing to Northern Monk in supermarkets. So you imagine they have a similar size kind of strategy business scale and stuff like that.
They're heading that direction.
I think Vocation and Salt are in the same bracket, and I think it's a slightly different bracket.
I nearly got a Vocation beer out, that Tonka Stout that was in Tesco as well. But I went for the Northern Monk one because you said Northern Monk, didn't you? So
yeah, Vocation Stouts aren't the best for me.
Oh, okay. That's a good question. Tried a few chocolate stouts without nuts because Chris was allergic. What would you recommend? Well, the first thing, I don't need to tell you, recommend you look at the ingredients list because I don't think there's not that many beers that have actual nuts in. There might be some that have that flavor profile by the malt or touch on the hops sometimes maybe, but I can't think of that many beers. It will specifically say like a hazelnut stout or it's normally only hazelnut really that I can think of.
Indeed.
What's a good starting point? I mean, we've just kind of berated both of these breweries to a certain degree, but as an entry level,
look, the head has died. It was bubbly rather than
it looks
frothy
miserable, doesn't it?
Creamy. It's just died.
Big bubbles. I would probably say as an entry, Chris, if they still sell it, I believe it's in Morrison's. It's the Brew York Vocation collab called Sweet Temptation. It's a caramel chocolate stout.
Caramel and chocolate stout. Yeah, that is a great shout. Yeah,
yeah, it's nice and thick. It's got a nice creamy element to it. It's really decadent.
Yeah, don't go for that one. Don't go for that one. That's that's difficult. It's not massively chocolatey. It's not massively thick. It is quite a thin. And for 8.4%, you're right, Mark. You want something a bit decadent and a bit
with that flavour profile as well, I suppose.
Yeah,
that brownie,
voluptuous. There we go. Somehow those are really good non-supermarket beers. Yeah, I don't always look at their website and stuff.
With the Vocation, look, last time I checked, Vocation had a two-pronged strategy of like supermarket and then good stuff offered to your local craft beer place and stuff like that. Which brings us, I'm kind of want to wrap this up because I'm looking at time. I want to head towards the light at the end of the tunnel. That way, are we in the post-craft golden beer age? Because I think the term craft beer, I mean, I always felt it was a bit transparent, but now I'm really thinking you really mean fuck all. I mean, and because the costs are going up, because breweries have really suffered, I don't think there's going to be much creativity. But craft beer was meant out there to challenge things, and I don't think there's going to be much challenging. I think we're going to fall back. I think we are. We're not going to. We are falling back on pails and give me that supermarket deal, please.
There is a big proliferation, I think, of session IPAs, session NEPAs, session hazy pales.
Yes.
Speaking of which, remember John said last year, this year you won't see much heavy, big stouts because of the amount of stuff that's got to go into it. I mean, I say 8.4. It's a big stout. It's just not big enough in volume. So I think we knew that was coming, but I think these things go in waves. So as long as we get the other side of the wave, eventually things might equal out. We might get some better stuff. I don't know, but I don't think it's.
If you look at the post-hop age, and the hop explosion is absolutely was the biggest fueler of this craft beer revolution that we experienced countrywide 4 years ago. When you look at I believe you're right, Disco. When you look at the waves and what has come out of people kind of putting a bit of a shoulder towards the hot beers. Fantastic lagers. You know, you've got breweries like Utopian, Pillars, Braybrook. You know, lager centric breweries. I mean, that
Gonzoko, yeah.
Donzoko, yeah. You know, and these breweries are coming in. And I mean, that Helles lager that I had from Hackney Church the other week, they're not a lager exclusive brewery, but that was a joke. That was I could shut my eyes and think, yeah, I'm drinking a really good German Helles here. And
It's funny you point lager on that one, because lager, by its definition, everybody thinks of lager as like, you know, when you get mainstream lager, like, you know, your Fosters, your Stellas, your whatever, it's that's price point. But a proper decent craft lager costs more and takes more to produce.
Mhm.
And I think, again, John has said that, it's like it takes longer in tanks. You've got to store it longer, and you've got to get the hops right, and you've got to get the thing right. But a lot of people will produce a lager thinking, oh, that'll do, we'll chuck that out. But it's quite difficult to get right.
Yeah.
But that's why I think. But there is a lot of lagers, like you say, come out, and Donzoko shying away from being exclusively lager brewer. I haven't. To be fair, Donzoko is another one with the proliferation of breweries. It's on the list that I'd love to look at in more detail, but can't quite pull the trigger on an order because I've got so much other stuff on the list.
And a lot, but you got a whole big stash, which is probably.
I've got too much beer in the stash. I've not got around to reviewing or even drinking yet. There are some beers I'm just drinking. I'm never going to get around to reviewing that, so I'll just drink it. But yeah, and still I'm buying too much beer. Do you have that problem, Mark? Do you think you've got too much beer in the stash, or do you just buy for what you need for the review and what you need for drinking at the weekend?
To be honest, this is going to sound so poncy, and I want to apologise here. It's been a while since I've bought something non-supermarket for the channel because I've got the tap-in agreement where they send me loads of beer. They work with some fantastic breweries. So I get a bit of beer that way. My uploads have gone down, just with life and the horse box and everything else. But that doesn't stop beer from coming in my front door. My neighbour turned up the other day with a whole bag. It's not in here, but it turned up with a whole plastic bag full of beer. And it was just like, blooming heck. And it's quite a funny one because you always want to review it. If someone gives it to you, you always want to get it on the channel, obviously.
Yeah.
But then you're running down dates, and then you're doing this and doing that. So I've actually sort of started to drink beer that's given to me on lives and just mention the person that gave it to me or the brewery that gave it to me, because otherwise it's going to go out of date, and it's just. But if I was to buy, when I went back in the summer when I was doing my Beers of Europe reviews, it was a joke. I'd have like 300 beers in the house, and it'd be like, what the hell am I doing here?
I'm not that bad, Rasco. I don't think I've got that many, but it's pushing it.
Right.
We counted them once, Disco. Do you remember? About a year ago.
We did do that on the live stream, didn't we? I think we were talking to Raggy at the time.
Yeah.
Because you see Raggy's tap wall, beer wall, and it's just immense. But I'm sure we was chatting to him, and he said he had over 100, and I counted it. I said I had over 100 at the time.
I mean, there's still things like this that I've got to drink. Chimay Grand Reserve 2021. You know, it's covered in dust. You can see it. Look.
Wow.
There's loads of things in here.
Didn't I drink that on the Instagram shop?
Have you had a Green Jack?
I have had a couple of Green Jack beers, having travelled through Suffolk and Norfolk. Yeah,
they're Baltic Trader Porter. Export stout, 10.5%. Like, that's a beer that I need to get a shot of.
Invite me around, man, anytime, honestly.
But if you find yourself Norwich as a city for beer, it's worth a dedicated trip. We did one once in the early days of Rasco and Disco Channel. We went to the Winter Beer Festival, Camberwell Winter Beer Festival. Just gone. It's St Andrews Hall.
But they moved it to Birmingham. But we went to the last one in Norwich. But they still have beer festivals in that place. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. No, Norwich is a fantastic city. I mean, I was gutted when I moved from Kent. Our kind of city or our town or city of choice was Canterbury. It was the furthest away, when you consider we had kind of Maidstone, Ashford, and then Canterbury. It was always the furthest away, but you just got so much out of it. And I was gutted to leave
Yeah.
Canterbury, or gutted to leave Canterbury behind. And then I
Yeah.
inherited Norwich, which is just like a bigger and better Canterbury. Yeah, lucky, really lucky. Right, what's going to be the last beer? Because I'm conscious that you guys have already cracked yours.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
sorry, I didn't realise we hadn't kept up with that.
No, sorry, mate.
Proper
That
lager
shrink
brewery
curler was.
like kit as well. When I went to Lost and Grounded in the summer, they have crammed so much kit into their place.
See, Lost and Grounded. That's another brewery.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not exclusively lager, but you do think of them. You do think of them that way. What ABV is this? 4.9%. I think it's going to be a nice way to end the night.
I'm on Brew by Numbers Imperial Stout.
You enjoying that, mate?
Oh, it's a collab. Hello, I've got an Emperor Palpatine symbol on it. Yes, it's good. It's not the best I've ever had, but it is nice. It's got a bit of cherry in it, and
Oh yeah,
chocolate
cherry and a stout. I mean, man.
Don't forget, Rasco, I've got a Emperor's Brewery beer for you, the Emperor's Turning Point Palpatine with your name on it. Should you want it? It's sitting in the stash.
Oh,
okay. We'll see about that because I at the moment I can't do much.
Yeah, and they've just brought out Turning Point. I love Turning Point, as you know, but they've annoyed me this week because I got a load of the disco beers in last week, and now this week they've brought out a barrel aged series of the Palpatine. There's like a rum barrel, there's like a bourbon barrel, and there's I think it's brandy barrel, but it's 330ml cans. I'm like, well, I've just bought 2 big orders from you. I'm not sure I want to, but I don't think I can really justify it. But I've got to get through my Disco Kingdom beers yet.
Mate, they're similar high percentage stouts they produce. It's amazing. When I was in York and we were walking around the wall, me and my mate Daryl, we went into this bar which seemed like some kind of old fortification, right by the river, and you have to secure tables if you want to sit outside. So I went and sat outside, and Daryl said, "What do you want?" I said, "Anything by Turning Point." He goes, "Okay," and he gets me to Krakatoa. It's 8.5%. I went, "Daryl, mate, it's 8.5%. And this is the first beer of the day." Mate, he laughed off.
You've got to start big at least, even if you don't finish big. But I've got a can of that in the cupboard as well.
The thing is, I had it the day before at the York Beer Festival on cask, and it was great. And I actually finished on it as well, because at the beer festival it sometimes tastes a bit different. And then the last bar we went to was the Falcon, which is the Turning Point bar, and I had a bit of Krakatoa. And mate, York, I'm moving. Fuck London.
Incidentally, Rasco, since that you mentioned cask, just a quick one, might as well slip this in. Yesterday we filled our first cask at Perivale, so we've got very pale in cask coming up. So that'll be interesting to compare the two, cask versus keg at Perivale.
What was the first thing I said to Perivale when I met them in 2019? Why don't you do cask? And they kind of went apologetically and said, look how much space we have to brew. And I was like, no, okay, I understand. It's a financial decision. But that's bloody great. Keep cask alive. Pick up the cask. You don't want to know what I heard from Pete Brown about how cask can survive. But hey.
Well, when we get it racked up on a bar, I'll give you a shout, mate. Come and have a try of it.
I might have quit beer by then. Anyway, I'll be back in a second, fellas. Talk amongst yourselves or in the show.
Who are you kidding, Rasco? Come on.
Who's
this guy?
Once you're in, you're in. Where are you sitting on cask, Mark? What's your cask?
I'm liking cask, mate. I'm really liking cask. I think the problem is with cask around my local vicinity is it's always dominated by the Adnams.
Yeah.
That's the issue. Go up to the city, go up to Norwich. Cask is like there's some good stuff out there. I mean, I think it's a sign of the times that companies like Verdant hop bastion of they are what they are. Verdant. They now brew, I believe, a best bitter and a pale ale permanently for cask.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've
this
learned a few
isn't.
things. I've learned a few things about cask this last couple of weeks that surprised me slightly. So
In
to
a
hear
bad or a good
Verdant
way?
being cask it's just these terms get bandied about, and I think they get misunderstood a lot. At the end of the day, it's beer. Just enjoy the beer. If it's good beer,
Yeah.
the dispense. I was asked the other, I kind of, what's the difference between cask and keg? Like, basically, it's just a method of dispense at the end of the day. As long as the beer's good, doesn't matter how it comes out. If the beer's good in your glass,
Oh, I didn't know about that, mate. No, I would no.
hopefully,
I can't say.
Adam will correct me. Adam will correct me on this point. Maybe I don't know.
Well,
Go on. No,
it's,
you will as well.
it's running cask and keg for me are different on a couple of levels. Keg is put through a cooling system generally.
Yeah.
So it's going to come out colder. It's going to change the beer massively. Certainly malt forward beers benefit from you'll never get the full benefit of a malt forward beer when it's chilled down too much. Equally, if it's forced through with CO2, keg will give a beer either body or spritz, which cask doesn't give it. Yeah. I think certain beers are made for cask, certain beers are made for keg. In my opinion.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. I think, is that not the one that you were talking about earlier, Mark?
No, this is a different one.
Verdant
This
just
is a
released a
different
cask
one.
and exclusive with Adam.
This is a red rye IPA, but I did know I did know that was coming. This was brewed at Adnam's place in Southwold. I believe that is brewed at Verdant's place.
Okay, righto.
So
that kind of crosses over a little bit, doesn't it? And ESB is kind of the best of both worlds. That's kind of Adnam's territory more than Verdant, but Verdant getting into a bitter kind of thing.
Yeah, it's probably a bit of knowledge exchange, isn't it? I
think, definitely.
Yeah. You got two guys from each end of the spectrum, and they can both benefit. Like I say, Adnams are keen to get more into craft. They've got the Jack Brand division of beers, and then you've got Verdant doing more cask and trad stuff.
Verdant got 5 cask beers. Adam says so.
There you go.
Real ale really is just craft but rebranded. That comes up in one of my interviews, by the way.
I think it's the other way round. I think craft is just real ale rebranded and repackaged and in a different dispense. Largely,
it is. But craft really did go out of its way to try and break down boundaries. Real ale would never have done a custard beer.
You say that, but look at banana bread beer from Wells. Look at Bingham's Vanilla Porter. Look at them. I mean, it's not a mass amount compared to, say, craft, I admit, but there are some. It is a possibility.
What is the term craft, though?
Yeah,
if we go
right
back to the start.
Yeah,
nothing.
Okay, here we go. Right. Does that cover it? Real ale is a craft, but craft isn't always real ale. That's a fair point.
I think that's pretty fair. To me, a craft, anything craft, take beer out of it. If you see a craft fair, what do you expect at a craft fair? For me, it's local people making amazing things, whether it's a wind chime or a photo frame or I don't know.
Yeah, go to a craft market. Yeah,
but they've crafted it. They've taken something and gone, I'm going to make this as good as I possibly can make it.
Yeah.
So when
usually by hand, it's a hand.
Usually by hand, through more. It's almost like passion projects as much as it is a money making project.
Yeah.
The problem is that the word craft or the phrase craft beer got so big and so you can monopolize it so well that people like Brewdog have still got defiantly craft or defiantly independent
Yeah.
crafted,
Yeah.
and it dilutes. So the word craft has
It's
been diluted.
divisive. It's like divide and conquer. So it's like, oh,
Exactly.
we want to get everybody in that's on craft, but Cask wants to
Mm.
get everybody in that, you know, it's like cultish, you know, it's like,
It is cultish because that's cults sell. Cult is a brand, effectively, and like in all honesty, you cannot get more craft than Cask.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I read that as Adam started drinking in 2007, and like, oh, he's a wee baby. Oh, he's a young'un.
I was 19.
That's just me and Rasco started drinking 10 years before that, but I don't think that's quite what that means. Actually, I'm not sure how old Adam is. So
I'm remembering what I did in 2007, but it was good times.
But what would another word for craft? What would the craft beer thing be called? What would you call it? Would you call it small batch?
Good beer.
well, this is exactly. It's rare that me and Rasco agree, but yeah, we just call it beer. It's like the answer to that question is like, you know, when we talk about over here, we have Irish pubs, Irish bars. What do they call Irish pubs in Ireland? Pubs. So what do we call craft beer? We just call it beer. It's just good beer.
But aren't Verdant doing that with their craft range, where they've gone to a very traditional pump clip? It's very, very traditional. There's no Verdant's cans are normally quite, you know, got a brilliant mix of color. They're normally, you know, it's very sort of very arty. Verdant's can art some of the best out there for me, but their Cask stuff has got it. You can cover the name and you go, that's Fuller's, I think. Oh no, it's Verdant. Oh, okay. Do you know what I mean? It's got that kind of like.
Wow.
I've not seen a lot of their Cask in terms
Yeah,
of
no.
It's just interesting that one of Britain's biggest and best craft breweries, well, not biggest, but certainly one of the best craft breweries, is doing, you know, playing the Fuller's game almost.
Well, I think a good example of that, I can relate to that, because a good example of that is Wildcard over in East London.
Yeah.
Who have brought a range of Cask out, and it is, like you say, a very simple, just Wildcard, best bitter or golden ale on the pump clip. And it's gone out into a certain range of pubs that Rasco doesn't like talking about. I've not had any. I meant to go and have some, but yeah. So yeah,
No, Disco. You can mention Wetherspoons.
Half getting into real ale and you know, best bitters kind of thing.
You can talk about Wetherspoons. I just think the leader of their organisation is a prick.
Well, we agree on that, but yeah, it doesn't mean sometimes. But
I am actually. I don't know how to actually put up an image of the Verdant Cask. And Mark, you are 100% on the mark. It's very there's a bit of marketing genius there.
I think so.
It is.
Here's a question. Here's a question for you, Mark. I say Verdant. Rasco says Verdant. Which is right for you?
Verdant, because Verdant is too close to that Belgian. You got Verdant, haven't you? You got Verdant who do the blonde and stuff.
It's funny earlier because we said about pronunciation, and I don't know which is right, because they even brought out a beer called It's Pronounced Verdant or Verdant, because I think everybody else gets it a bit. Again, it's 50-50.
Isn't the word verdant? Doesn't that mean sort of green area, field?
Yeah, bright green is an old, like, I think it's like Roman or Italian kind of verdant is bright green. Good to see you, Paul. Thanks for popping in. Yeah, mate.
Yeah. Anyway, look, Mark, the wrap. What's next for you? How is the bar doing?
The bar Yeah, no. In truth, we haven't sold a pint out of the bar yet. We've done a wedding fair. We've taken bookings, which has been nice. We got some inquiries from that wedding fair. But before that, we got bookings. I think we got about 6 bookings now.
Wow.
And
for next year, I presume, because it's a difficult time.
yeah,
Maybe
we've got
this
one
time of year, but it'd be good
yeah,
for.
it's a bit of a weird time for us. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a bit of a weird one. We've got a booking coming up on the 2nd of December
right.
at a Christmas fair. So there's going to
Yeah.
be, it's probably going to be bottles of trad. You think winter, you think bottles of trad beer,
Yeah.
and you think spiced cider and mulled wine. So that's what we're going to be doing. For
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
First wedding we've got is in June, and that's going to be all out craft.
Right.
We've finalised the range, so we've got an ampersand lager, 4% lager called Feld, described as a Helles, but it's probably more of a neutral lager for me. It's just a decent neutral lager, German-inspired lager. Then the craft pale is going to be Burnt Mills Pintle, which is a Cascade and Citra pale. Very good pale, quite clear, it's kind of got a slight touch of haze. So you know it's craft, but it's not like a danky boy where people are going to go, "Oh, this is off," because that still is a thing. Believe it or not, I've served at many beer festivals recently.
I think I've never heard that expression before, but I know exactly what I've heard. Crispy boy and juicy boy, but danky boy. That's
danky. Do you know what I mean? It looks sort of looks a bit moody. And then we've got the British pale. So we've kind of gone. There's a theme to the beers that we've chosen to build a range. We've got a British pale from Tyndall's called Liberator Pale Ale, based on the Liberator, the B-29 Liberator, because there's a lot of American airfields around here.
Yeah.
And then we've got
where is Tyndall's? I've not heard. That's a new one.
Tyndall Ales. They are fantastic.
Wow.
Fantastic. One of the best beers.
Every week I hear a new brewery because there's 2,500 in the country. But yeah.
It's a bit like that, isn't it? And then another brewery you might not have heard of is Grain. So our sort of bitter ale option is going to be
definitely heard of Grain.
Grain Oak. So Grain are actually now pretty well known. Well, no, they're not. They're not well known for it, but they brew the Good King Henry at Grain.
Oh, yes. Now Rasco's had that beer. I've yet to. I think I've had it.
I have as a bottom. I have a 2020 special reserve in my fridge.
Wow. Okay. I know Rasco. You've done that, haven't you, Rasco?
Yes. Just to point out, I did the Chimay beer also on an Instagram Live once. Big bottle.
What? You did that on Instagram Live?
Yeah.
That must have been chaos.
Hello.
All our Instagram lives were, Mark, so it doesn't really narrow it down.
Well, I was going to say that was only due to the bloody signal on Rasco's phone. I remember them good old days.
Listen, you just missed out on our Instagram lives. I think we sort of stopped them about the time you started YouTube. So
I caught a few of them. I did catch a few. But no, so we've got a nice range in the horse box. We've got bookings. It's a modifiable range as well, so you can if you can say to one thing we're not doing, and we will be firm on this, is if someone says to us, "Can you get Peroni in?" It's going to be a no. And that's not to be snobbish. That's just to preserve a USP, because our USP is serving high quality East Anglian beer and spirits, and that is a non-negotiable. Because the last thing we want is, because it is very sort of social media led. Obviously, Paul's does a lot with the Creative Juices social media.
Yeah.
The last thing that you want is hashtag Peroni on next to your hashtag, because it cheapens you out, and we're going to be quite fixed on that. And it's not from a snobbish angle; it's from our USP. I suppose the USP was born out of a bit of beer snobbery, I suppose. So it's probably one and the same in to a certain degree. But yeah, that's where the horse box is. So quite excited to get started.
Fair play to Camilla, as I'm still calling it. I'm sorry, but
you are calling it Camilla, aren't you?
What else would you call a horse box? No, it's brilliant. That you've just gone for it and done it, and it looks great. You obviously seen the pictures. So I hope it goes really well and you get like loads more bookings.
Well,
Like I say, next year, like probably something you might have a busy summer.
yeah, fingers crossed. I mean, I think the long and short of it is I'm an electrician. I'm 35 and I don't want to be crawling around loft spaces for the rest of my life. That is the long and short of it. And the horse
you're
box is
young,
maybe
you're
a bit of a
young,
way out of it a little bit, maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm not putting on my
Well, you know it's not going to make you millions. It's not going to
no.
You go into that with that. It's obviously if it does well and you've got that throughput, it's a good sideline. It's a good something to get into.
Yeah, that's a fair. I think the horse box. If you look at the real bare figures, and in terms, obviously it's a business, so it needs to earn money, right? So we've gone through the figures, and the figures are pretty good. Pretty good. The way we've got the business set up, low overheads, no operators apart from myself and my business partner Dom that you would have seen on the live stream, I imagine. The way we've got it set up is quite good. It's stored down the side of my house. It's not being paid. We're not paying £200 a month storage that we've got to cover off. So the figures are all right. To the point where if someone said, Mark, next Friday, are you available? I'd be like, sorry, Mrs. Harris, I can't do I can't first fix your conservatory. I'm doing this now. That's the long and short of it, being honest. So fingers crossed it might be all right. And there's a lot of offshoots that you can do with this sort of business. So
would you like festivals or something where you could
obviously we've got Latitude down the road. That's a very East Anglian centric festival. So and people just love the idea of it being local. Norfolk's very sort of like local place for local people and all the rest of it. If people are asking you to bang their drum in a certain way, I'll certainly do it.
Yeah. So. That's brilliant. No, really good.
Mark, it honestly is brilliant. You've gone from strength to strength to strength. And I made a joke at the beginning of the show. I think you're going to open a casino. Mate, that's not a joke. I think you actually are going to have a casino one day.
I think that'd be a bit of a gamble, to be honest. I've got to have one joke.
Yeah. So, look, I think now's a good time to wrap it up. We've gone way over time.
It is. We haven't even had a chance to chat about football today, Mark. Mostly because Rasko doesn't know anything about football because he's a QPR fan.
Did they lose again today?
No, we drew. It's an improvement.
Rotherham. We drew against Rotherham.
Yeah, we did. We drew. It's an improvement.
To be honest, Charlton are that bad nowadays that we've got Cray Wanderers tomorrow in the FA Cup. So
but you're on telly and everything, man.
We are weirdly, but the problem is with that disco is we lose on television and we can't lose to Cray Wanderers. Otherwise, this is going to be a new low.
Cheers, Mersey. Mersey gets the joke. I went bust with that joke. Fair play.
Yes.
Thanks for chipping in.
I think
talking about
if we were going to do that, though, disco, it would be all in.
Hey, it just follows on.
Hey.
Sorry.
I thought you'd be glad I'm a QPR supporter, considering we're propping your team up at the moment. Because you're not exactly.
It's 6 points for us at the end of the day. I'll see you on December the 4th. Yeah.
No. Yeah. Indeed. Yeah. We'll probably do nothing. Anyway, on that note, Mark, it's been a pleasure. It's been so long.
Thank you for having me on.
No, pleasure. It's been a good laugh. It's been a good chat. We've covered a lot of ground. Again, I've agreed with Rasko. It's been brilliant to have you. Thank you so much, Mark.
Is there a full moon tonight? There's got to be something wrong here.
Well, we agree on a few things. Beer is not always one of them. Actually, it usually is, but and we can agree that it's been a good show.
And, yes, indeed. So I don't know when we're doing another. But hopefully get 3 out before the end of the year. One of them will be beer of the year. I hope
Yeah.
Disco. I know you're not keeping notes and you have no clue what your beers of the years are, but that's okay. I've done the work for you.
Of course, I'm keeping notes. Quickly, Mark, just a quick off the cuff. What's your beer of the year?
So far, just
That's
off
a
the
good
cuff,
point so far, yeah.
one of these. It was an Adnams 150th birthday beer.
Yeah.
It was a wine barrel aged pale ale, essentially.
Wow.
Hopped with mosaic, 11%. It had coriander seeds, orange peel, and black currants put in. It was absolutely sensational.
Sounds like
So
a
what?
pale
This is
ale,
one of
to
them.
be fair.
I have to say, this is pretty bloody close. Actually, this is a raspberry and basil summer stout from Hackney Church called Solstice. That
Cool.
second time around I've had that. It's a good one.
You know,
Superb.
if we do beer of the year show again, maybe we should have a little council to question us on it instead of me and you just poking fun at each other.
Panel.
Yeah. Mm,
That's an interesting
Okay.
shout. Interesting shout.
there.
I'd volunteer myself
Anyway.
to that, mate.
Thank you very much.
Oh, good.
And on
Right,
that
so-
note,
Wrap it up, sir.
believe enough to lose control. Aya con Dios, everyone.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy the beers, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for dropping
you.
in the comments and everything. Cheers, all.
Mm.